Alright everyone, here's a short demo on how to swage bullets. People have been asking me to make some kind of instructions, and I guess a video is the best way to do it. So you start by taking your 22 cases, and I haven't cleaned these or anything just for the sake of making this video, but you anneal them. Oops. And I anneal them by just using a blowtorch, or you can use an oven or your fireplace or whatever it takes. You just get them to a light glow. Cooling them in any fashion I've found doesn't make a difference. You can dunk them in water, or you can just let them cool. A big point is to check where the firing pin mark and make sure there's no tearing, or else that will have the bottom blow out when you run it through this derimming die. So the first die that you're going to be using would be the derimming die. It'll be labeled derim, so will the punch. The case should slide right over it, and I'm using a really small press, as you can see, so the effort might be fairly high to press these rims off. But you just give it a nice press, and out pops a jacket. And it should be smooth. Should be no tearing where the firing pin hit. So you just run however many jackets you want to use. Oh, and I use RCBS case lubricant on here. A lot of people don't think that's a good idea, but it's made to lubricate brass, so why not? As well, you need to lubricate the punch slightly, and what I use on the punch is just this homebrew of Crisco and beeswax that my friend gave me. Seems to be really nice for swedging. I've got this little tub from, I guess from Dan. It's Kane's Dyes Lube. It works really well too. So whatever you got, make sure to use plenty of. Don't be shy when you're derimming. And as you can see, even this little press, it's not a lot of work. As far as setting up the die, I always screw it out all the way, and you'll derim, and the case will stick on this punch. And I just keep going like this until the point where that brass pulls off that punch, and go about another quarter turn. And that will leave the brass, this edge of the brass, up in, there's a recess cut in this die, and that will let it catch on that recess when you pull the punch back out. See, that's not adjusted properly now. Okay, for step 2, we're making cores. So you'll put the core swedge punch. It'll be labeled on the bottom. Core swedge die. It'll be the die. It'll be labeled, as well as you'll notice there's a bleeder hole. So you'll start by cutting your cores. You can do it with dikes, or I have a core cutter, so you can see that they're nice and square. My core swedge die is cut with a 185 reamer. So I have 185 lead. It's slightly small, so actually it fits perfect, but so that's just what I use. So you can adjust the weight of your core by screwing this in or out. That's pretty clear. And so I'll just start by showing you. You swedge the core. Oh, and I'll also have a slight amount of lube on your fingers. It doesn't take much, just a little bit, or else it'll leave a hydraulic dimple in the core, and it will be slightly inconsistent on the weight. But for the most part, I mean, you're building them out of 22 jackets. They're not super crucial, but so you just start by feeding it up into the die. You'll notice right here some lead bleed out. keep pressure for just like a 1 or 2 count. It doesn't need to be very long, but that will allow any excess lead. And I just use a piece of wood to hit them out. Don't use a steel hammer. You can use a lead hammer, brass, or rubber. I've never tried rubber, but I'm sure it would work. But the wood seems to work good. So you just tap it out of the die, and there you've got a core. So just rinse and repeat for however many you need to build. Check by weighing the jacket plus a core to get the final weight of your bullet. These are going to come out to 55 grains or so. I can't get that one in there. Oh, it's got a bend. So just however many you need to make. And not a lot to it. This is my personal set of dies. It's one of the first ones I built, so some of my punches are not perfect lengths. That's why I got to reach up in there. I need to cut this punch off a little bit. Not a lot of science to making the cores. Okay, for step 3, we're going to be seating our cores in the jackets. So you'll be using your core seat die, it'll be labeled, and your core seat punch. And I just use RCBS case lube once again on the brass jackets. And for copper, I always use the Crisco and beeswax, but you can use Kane's dye lube or whatever you guys choose. Corbin stuff. Corbin's lube is very good. I don't even know what it is, but so you just start by putting the core in the jacket, setting it upside down on this punch like that, and run it up inside the die. And then you'll screw this die down to where you feel resistance, and then your press will pop like that. And these will be a little bit more difficult to eject than the cores, but you know, just get busy with them and they'll come right out. So now we have a seated core in that jacket, and this is where a lot of people break their punches or their press. There's no need to seat that core with too much pressure. All we're doing is we're seating the core to where it won't spin when the bullet's fired, as well as bringing the jacket out to a finished diameter, or not a finished diameter, but a intermediate diameter between point form and D-rim. So these jackets right now with the core seated are 2231, and we're looking for an ultimate diameter of 224. So we're right there. You don't need to seat them too hard, or you'll end up breaking things. Already got one ready. Let's go up, little pop of the press, and eject it. That's all there is to it. Alright, the last step in finishing your bullet is to form the point. So we've got a annealed jacket with the core seated in it, and now all we have to do is close the tip. You'll use the point form die. It's labeled point form punch, and you just start by sending the jacket, or the seated jacket, open end up into the die. And I personally, your dies will have a tool steel nub that I fitted onto this ejection pin. And if you happen to bend an ejection pin or whatever, I will have sent 3 or 4. And all you need to do is take a vise or whatever and pull the nub off and put it on your new ejection pin, and it will just kind of press fit on there. Not very hard, but I always pull my ejection pin out and form the point, and then punch it out. I do use a steel hammer for this. Nice easy taps. It should come out almost effortlessly, but as you can see, the point, well, it's all up to you, but the point's too big on this bullet here. So to shrink that point, I'm going to screw the die down a little bit and shrink it up. I personally like to push the bullet out by the brass because it tends to even out the rim, or the maplay or whatever of this jacket, because out of these 22s, they're not very perfect. So you just tap it out. That's getting closer, almost there. So just a little closer, and I cut these point form dies out. That one got a little stuck, so we're real close. Not quite there. I cut them out with a EDM machine, so if you guys need or want a copy of, say, a Burger or a Sierra, or I had a guy buy a copy of some Hornady bullets. So there we're pushing them out by the brass now. The tip is nice and uniform. I'll give it a measure real quick, and these bullets come out to 22385, so we're 1,500 thousandths off. That's well within the boundaries of acceptable. And yeah, 2238085. So I'll attempt to get your dies right at 224, but in the whole scheme of things, that's just as close as a factory bullet will ever be. And you seat the core, make sure to have them lubed. You're pressed. It should be really effortless with these brass jackets, if they're annealed properly. If they're not annealed properly, they will fold over on themselves. Let's see if I have one. Well, I don't have one available, but it'll be just like a wrinkle over itself right on the nose. That will occur, A, if it's not annealed, and B, if you don't have enough lead to support the ogive of the bullet. And so just nice and easy. Should almost be able to push these out with your fingers. Real easy. And that's pretty much all there is to making bullets out of 22s. Just keep in mind when you're doing all this, if something is difficult to get out of the die, that one's a little wrong too, or things get stuck, or you're bending things, then it's just not set up right. I've personally shot these bullets out of my 220 Swift, albeit a light load, at 3,600 feet a second, and they stayed together. I tried a load that was about 4,050 feet a second, and the chronograph read them, but they must not have lasted long because they never hit downrange. So I'm thinking a light load in a 22-250, or as fast as you can push them out of a 223, I'm sure. But they shoot good, and they expand violently. I suppose. And best of all, they're nearly free. So I guess that's the instructional video on how to swedge bullets with my dies. Real easy, real quick. I just made those 5, but you know, you can make hundreds in an hour if you're practiced up and have everything lubricated well. And I hope you guys have fun. I hope you enjoy my product, and I will get this video posted as soon as I can. Thank you.